We have a full kitchen going on this week at Woodworking with Wes. Here's some of the cabinets that we have to install. One of the cabinets we have to build is a tray divider that's going to be going on top of our wall oven, and we're going to show you how we build that today in the shop. Like every cabinet box, it starts with the box. These are our sides. This is the floor of our cabinet. That's the top of our cabinet. These pieces right here will be the hanging cleat. And we'll go ahead and assemble to that point and put the back on, and then we'll work on the tray divider part. Notice that I'm using two guns. This is an 18 gauge brad nailer. We nail the cabinet together with that to line everything up. This is an 1 3/4 large crown staple that we use. It's a 16 gauge, shoots large staples, and that's what we nail the cabinet together. Let me get this out. It's a wide crown staple. That's what we actually use to hold the cabinet together. This is a method that I've used in construction for years, and it works great. It's fast, and it holds the cabinets together very good. We now have our box done for our tray divider cabinet, and we're getting ready to do our trays. The first thing we do is start with the shelf that goes in. Now this is just an adjustable shelf size, but what we're going to do is we're going to divide up how many divider sections that we want, and we're going to cut a 1/4 inch groove in the bottom of this. Now the one thing I want to have you keep in mind, that first section needs to be about 5 inches wide. I always make mine 5 inches wide. That allows me to put a hinge in here, because this will have cabinet doors, and there needs to be room to be able to get in and attach your hinge and your plate and everything. So the first thing we do is space up 5 inches. And I'm just going to have my video move in here close, and we're going to show you how we space our trays. Now, our tray dividers are 1/4 inch wide. They're just 1/4 inch two-sided white melamine. And so if we come in from the 5, we know we're going to be 5 inches there. We're going to be the same over here, so let's just divide out half of it. Now we're going to have one divider right in the middle. This is 28.5 inches wide, because this is a 30-inch wide cabinet. Remember, this goes on top of a wall oven, and all wall oven cabinets are 30 inches, 28 on the inside. So 14.25 is the inside, or the center of our inside. And so if we want a 1/4 inch, 14 1/8 would be that measurement. And then all we do is divide the measurement in here, which is 8 7/8. I've burned an inch, so 8 7/8. We're going to take a 1/4 inch off of those, so 8 5/8 would be 4 5/16 for each section. So let's burn 10 inches. Let's put a 1/4 inch there, and then let's burn that 10 inches, and 4 5/16. There's our measurement right there. So this is 4 5/16, upside down, sorry, 4 5/16, and 5. So we're going to have 6 sections and 5 dividers. We're going to go over to our table saw now, and we are going to make these grooves in here. We're going to start out by doing the center, then we're going to do the 5, and then we're going to divide the leftover, make it perfect. And we're going to take a little piece of 1/4 inch two-sided melamine, and we're going to test and make sure our cuts allow our trays to slide in and out. Okay, we're over here at the table saw. This is the little 1/4-inch spacer we've used, and we've set our measurement to cut our center first. We'll do that, then we'll go back and cut the 5, just like we talked about. Because our saw blade is only 1/8 of an inch wide and our groove needs to be 1/4 of an inch wide, you notice that I took 2 cuts on when I was doing my outside, and even when I did my center I flipped it around and cut again. Then I had to go back and take a little extra off because our 1/4-inch piece wasn't sliding, and I told you that's why we were going to make sure that it had to slide. Now that's what we're going to do next. We're going to divide this section and then we'll be done. Okay, that completes this portion. We're going to take it back over to the table and sand this little edge here so it doesn't have a sharp edge. And then we have to come back over to the table saw and make some corresponding 1/4-inch pieces that are exactly this size to nail to the floor of our cabinet. We'll show you how we do that too. Came back from the table saw. I just took a sanding block, turned it corner-wise, and sanded in the end of my groove so that it just knocked off the rough edges. I'm now going to take my pieces that I cut, and we'll show you how we put these in, but I'm just going to round the corners of these and break the edges also. And these will make, this is the top part of the tray divider, these will be the bottom part of the tray divider, and we're going to install them in just a minute. I think you'll notice that I talked about dividing this section in here equally, and then I set my saw wrong and cut it, so I have a smaller one here and a little bit larger one here. It's okay. On a tray divider, it's not a big deal. I would redo it, but I don't need to because it really doesn't make any difference. That old cut or measure twice, cut once thing, you'd think after 45 years in the business I'd learn to follow that rule, but I still have trouble with that. We're getting ready to nail our divider pieces, our divider spacers, excuse me, into the bottom of our cabinet. We're going to use our spacer stick, and we're going to we are going to reproduce this pattern across the bottom of our tray divider cabinet. We're going to start with the outside. We'll nail in these 2 pieces, and we're just using a 23 gauge headless pin gun. We'll nail in the sides first. Then we'll use our spacer stick. We'll nail in our next one, and we wanted to be able to slide this, so we'll just kind of bend that a little bit, create a little more space. Put 3 nails in that for a second to make sure that we've got our spacing correct. And again, we'll just bend it a little bit, and that gives us a little more space. 1 in the front, 2 in the back. Now we're into our center pieces here. Same thing. Bend a little bit. 1 in the front, 2 in the back. And if we've done our math correctly, we should be able to. Well, now see, we have a little too much space on this one here, so we're going to bump it a little bit. Now you know why I don't put all the nails in at once. To do that,
And we're still a little tight, so let's create some additional space here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to break my little spacer in half. I'm going to put it on both sides and squeeze it. And then there we go. That creates my space. Now we'll put it in. Do that on all of these here. Good there. A little tight there. A little tight in the back. And we're good over there. We're good here. A little tight here. Okay, there's our spacers in the bottom of our cabinet, and let's just take our top piece, set it in here, and you can see how those grooves line up. Now we need to make our tray dividers. This is what our tray dividers look like. Like I say, white melamine on both sides. We put a little cutout here for a little decoration, and we made one, and we're just going to set it on here, trace it. We'll cut this with our jigsaw and sand it on our edge sander to the line. Okay, after we completed the cutout, we just take a piece of 80 grit sandpaper. We're just going to sand this and break the edges so that everything's nice and smooth. After we sanded the edges of our tray divider pieces, we cleaned them with a little bit of lacquer thinner so they were nice and clean. We have all 5 of them done now. We're going to slide them in here. Now we'll put the top piece on. I made it kind of stiff so that it would get tight. We line up the trays to our grooves. Okay, we've completed the assembly of our tray divider cabinet. Remember, this sits on top of a wall oven, so this whole cabinet is going to start about this high because there's a wall oven. But this is where your cookie sheets and your cutting boards and baking dishes will go, and they'll be right accessible to your wall oven right beneath it. We're going to show you a picture, and it won't be on our video, but it'll be on our Instagram, so be sure to subscribe to our, or follow us on Instagram so that you can see a picture of this when we get it done. But this is how I build my tray divider cabinets. Very simple, gives you lots of storage space, and it's an easy cabinet to build because you build it right inside one of the cabinets you're building anyway. And this gives you an extra shelf up here when you have a tall cabinet for something big. Makes it a nice little storage space. Well, it's been a fun project, a great build, and it'll go great in our kitchen. We'll see you there, and next time on Woodworking with Wes.